DIE FLEDERMAUS by Johann Strauss. The synopsis is presented by Opera Inside, the online opera guide. The roles: Eisenstein, a rich Viennese. Rosalinde, his wife. Frank, director of a prison. Dr. Forky, a friend of Eisenstein. Dr. Blind, Eisenstein's lawyer. Adele, Rosalinde's maid. Orlovsky, a rich young Russian prince. Alfredo, a singer. Frosch, a jailer. The maid Adele receives an invitation from her sister to Prince Orlovsky's ball. So Adele asks her mistress Rosalinde if she can take the evening off. But Rosalinde refuses. Because her husband, Eisenstein, has to go to jail that evening, and she wants to grant him one last supper. Suddenly Alfredo appears. He is a former lover of Rosalinde's. He sees his chance when Eisenstein is in jail. Rosalinde can only get rid of him with the promise to receive him later. Eisenstein appears accompanied by his lawyer Blind, whom he insults because he did not represent him well in court, and he has to take his 8-day detention. Rosalinde tries to comfort him. Eisenstein throws the lawyer out without further ado. Dr. Forky appears. He is a friend of Eisenstein and persuades him to visit Prince Orlovsky's ball today. Dr. Forky knows the prison director Frank and a postponement of a night could certainly be organized. Forky suggests introducing Eisenstein to society as Marquis Renard. When Eisenstein is getting dressed, Forky starts an intrigue. 3 years earlier, Eisenstein had left the drunken Forky alone outside the city after a costume ball, and he had to walk home in the morning in a bat costume. So he got the nickname Dr. Bat. He predicts to Rosalinde that Eisenstein would not go to prison. As proof, he invites her to go to Prince Orlovsky's ball in disguise. So it happens that Rosalinde gives Adele the evening off. She says goodbye to her husband, who claims to be on his way to prison. Alfredo appears. In revenge, Rosalinde decides to take him to Prince Orlovsky's party. He accepts and helps himself in Eisenstein's wardrobe. The prison warden Frank appears to pick Eisenstein up. He thinks Alfredo is Eisenstein. At Rosalinde's insistence, Alfredo plays along and leaves the house for prison. In Prince Orlovsky's ballroom, the guests look forward to the evening. Prince Orlovsky appears accompanied by Dr. Forky. He explains to Orlovsky the intrigue he is planning. Adele is also part of the intrigue and Dr. Forky also invited her. Forky introduces Eisenstein to Orlovsky as a French nobleman. Eisenstein gazes at Adele in amazement, but she passes herself off as Olga. Orlovsky and Forky amuse themselves. And now the prison director Frank arrives, who was invited under the name Chevalier Chagrin. Orlovsky introduces the two false Frenchmen Renard and Chagrin to each other, and the two have to converse in French. Finally, the masked Rosalinde appears, disguised as a Hungarian countess. First she sees her husband and to her astonishment also Adele. Eisenstein alias Renard is introduced to the mysterious countess and he immediately catches fire. While he flirts with her, Rosalinde swears revenge. As proof, she gets her hands on Eisenstein's pocket watch. As the party progresses, Dr. Forky asks the guests to fraternize. Eisenstein fraternizes with Rosalinde and Frank with Adele. While the party is at its climax, Frank and Eisenstein realize that it is suddenly time to leave. Eisenstein tries in vain to get the Countess's watch back again. In prison, the drunken prison servant Frosch is on duty. Frank arrives in prison. Shortly after him, Adele, accompanied by her sister and Forky, knock on the door. She confesses that she is Eisenstein's maid. She wants to audition Frank so that he can get her an engagement at the theater. The next one is already waiting. Eisenstein is waiting outside. Frank quickly instructs Frosch to hide the two women in a cell. Pleased, Forky says goodbye to the two stunned men. Eisenstein learns that Frank has personally picked up a man in a dressing gown from his house. In the meantime, the lawyer Blind has also appeared. Eisenstein has an idea. He goes with the lawyer into an adjoining room and disguises himself as Blind. When Frosch brings the alleged Eisenstein from his cell, Rosalinde also appears to free her husband from prison. While she sees Alfredo, blind alias Eisenstein enters the office. Eisenstein seeks revenge. Rosalinde asks Blind for advice on how to explain Alfredo's visit to her husband, since nothing had happened. Alfredo also asks the lawyer how he can best get out of the situation. Eisenstein reveals himself and accuses his wife of the crime. But Rosalinde still has the clock. With relish she pulls it out of her pocket and holds it in front of Eisenstein's nose. When Adele and Forky reappear, they are all reconciled and are convinced all was caused by the champagne.
www.operaInside.com. All about operas. Learn more about this great opera. With interesting facts and great YouTube videos. Visit us.